Okay guys, we've just started our integer unit and it's time to give a little bit of a definition to the word integer and to understand what an integer is. So an integer is a system of numbers that we use. We've already been introduced to other number systems and we're going to review those and see which ones are part of the system of integers and which ones are not part of the system of integers. So let's take a look at this map and zero in on some of this stuff. If you look here at the light blue, natural numbers. Sometimes you'll hear these referred to as counting numbers. These are the numbers that you learned when you were a little kid and you first learned to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so on, all the way to infinity, right? Then you got a little older and we introduced the number 0 to you, a number that represents nothing, right? So basically, the reason natural numbers are inside the whole number circle is whole numbers are all the natural numbers 1 to infinity, but also including 0. Natural numbers don't include 0, but whole numbers include 0 and all of the natural numbers. Okay, yesterday we started talking about negative numbers. Come over here to the red circle now. So negative numbers are basically our natural counting numbers, but headed the other direction from 0 on the number line, right? We saw that yesterday. So negative numbers are -1, -2, -3, on and on and on to negative infinity. You take the whole numbers and the negative numbers and you've got your set of integers. Integers include the set of whole numbers and the set of negative numbers, including 0. Okay, the counting numbers positive, counting numbers negative, and 0. Okay, so now, what numbers are not integers? Well, rational numbers are not integers. Let me clarify. Natural numbers are rational. Negative numbers are rational. Zero's rational. But decimals are also rational, but they are not included in the integer group. 1/2 is a rational number, but it's not included in the integer group. 1/8 is not an integer. 3/5, not an integer. 1.2, not an integer. -3.2, not an integer. So integers are rational, but there are also rational numbers like fractions and decimals that are not part of the integer group. Okay, now I'd like you to pause the tape, the video, and copy this down on your worksheet. And then turn it back on because we have some more to do. Make sure you pause it now because I'm about to switch pages. Okay, hopefully you're all back. I've got a couple of problems now that I'm going to do with you. We're going to be adding integers. And we're going to do this by starting with a positive number on the number line and then adding a negative number. Okay, we'll do more in other lessons, but for right now we're going to start with that. So let's look at this first problem. 5 plus -3. You don't have to put the negative number in parentheses, but I like to do it, especially when the negative sign's next to an operation sign like plus. I don't want you confusing the negative sign with a minus sign. Okay? Negative sign is part of the number, but a minus sign would be an operation, an action that you need to do. Okay, so 5 plus -3. I could count from 0 to +5, but this is our starting number. So we're just going to find 5 on the number line. Here's the number 5. Now, when I add a negative number, I need to move that amount of spaces to the left from my starting point. So I'm starting at 5, and I'm going to add negative 3. So that's 1 to the left, 2 to the left, 3 to the left. And my answer is positive 2. Okay, so 5 plus negative 3 is positive 2. 3 plus negative 6. Okay, again, this is my starting point. So I'm going to find that point on the number line, right there. 3 plus negative 6. So I'm going to add a negative. I'm going to count that number of spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my answer here is negative 3. Okay? Now, I've got a couple more problems down here at the bottom for you to try, and then we'll correct them. So again, I'm going to ask you to pause and work out these problems and then turn it back on. Okay, are you back? So we have 5 as our starting point plus negative 9. I'm starting at 5. Since I'm adding a negative, I'm going to count to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Negative 4. Okay? 4 plus negative 4. Starting point 4. Adding a negative, count 4 to the left. Whoops, what happened there? 1, 2, 3, 4. And my answer is 0. 4 plus negative 4 is 0. Okay, hope you guys did well. Do the rest of the problems and we'll practice more tomorrow in class.